Good morning and welcome to the Public Service Commission. We are here today in dockets numbers 2023-8-E, Duke Energy Progress LLC, the Integrated Resource Plan, 2023 Integrated Resource Plan, and docket number 2028-23-10-E, Duke Energy Carolina LLC's 2023 Integrated Resource Plan. In this hearing, you will often hear them referred to as Duke Energy, and the Integrated Resource Plan referred to as IRP. First, I will do a roll call of commissioners. All commissioners are present and here in the hearing room. I would now ask our Chief Counsel, Ms. Joanne Westinger, to please read the docket, and instructions for the public hearing will be forthcoming.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, everyone that's here with us. As you know, this is a hearing notice by the Chief Clerk of the Commission and docket numbers 2023-8E and 2023-10E. The matter before you, as mentioned by the Chairman, is the review and consideration of the 2023 Integrated Resource Plans filed by Duke Energy Progress LLC and Duke Energy Carolinas LLC. This session of the customer public hearing is scheduled to begin this morning at 10 a.m. and will continue later this afternoon at 5:30 p.m. Mr. Chairman, I understand that all parties that were not excused from this proceeding are present and ready to proceed.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all who've chosen to provide your testimony in this very important matter. Your input's vital to our decision making, as well as a great benefit to both the Duke companies and all parties to the docket. Now, if the parties would introduce themselves, beginning with the Duke companies and proceeding across to Office of Regulatory staff.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of Duke Energy Carolinas and Duke Energy Progress, I'm Sam Wellborn.
Thank you. ORS.
Good morning, Chair Powers, Vice Chair Williams, and members of the Commission. Donna Rainey, representing the Office of Regulatory Staff.
Thank you very much. We will now give you the instructions as to the procedure that we're going to follow. Please remember you have 3 minutes to speak and stay on the line after that. The parties or one of the commissioners may have questions for you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we begin, as Mr. Chairman mentioned, there are a few preliminary matters that we need to go over. First, the Commission is mandated by law to follow certain procedures. Only those persons who have signed up either ahead of time or outside the hearing room are able to speak. If you have signed up to speak, you're testifying as a witness in this case, in these dockets, about the facts known to you related to Duke Energy Carolinas LLC and Duke Energy Progress LLC. You will be placed under oath telling everyone that what you are saying is the truth known to you. Your statements must be under oath in order to be accepted as evidence in this case and considered by the commissioners. After you are called to speak, please give your name, the name of the street that you live on, and the town. You do not need to provide your house number. The transcript of this proceeding will be published and placed in the record as required by law so that anyone can read it. If you will, please confirm that you are a customer of Duke Energy's Carolina LLC or Duke Energy's Progress LLC. Then you may proceed with what you wish to tell the Commission through your testimony. Please remember to speak clearly so that everyone can hear you, including the court reporter. After you're done speaking, please remain available for any clarifying questions that the parties or the commissioners may have for you. Everyone who has signed up to speak today will be given the same amount of time of 3 minutes. We do have a timer, and we will indicate when your 3 minutes is up. Finally, I must let you know that the commissioners before you are what is called a quasi-judicial body in South Carolina. This means that they are judges in this case. They are subject to the same rules of judicial code of conduct and the laws passed by our General Assembly. And just like if you were a witness called in a trial, or when you may have served as a juror, you cannot ask the judge or expect him or her to answer any questions. The same applies here today. They are bound by the same judicial rules and therefore prohibited from answering. This is the public's opportunity to be heard and to say what you would like the Public Service Commission to know concerning the 2023 IRP plans of Duke Energy Progress and Duke Energy Carolinas. Thank you again for coming out today. And Mr. Chairman, the matter is ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our first witness this morning is Doris Hedwin. Doris Hedwin, are you on the line? Miss Hedwin, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Thank you. Can you please affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide represents the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you, ma'am. Will you please provide the commission with your name, your street name, and the name of your town, but not your full address?
Doris Hedwin,
Thank you, ma'am. And your street name and the name of your town?
917 Nichols.
Thank you, ma'am. And are you a Duke Energy customer?
Yes, I am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Duke Progress.
All right.
I'm a Duke
You will have
Progress.
Thank you. You will have 3 minutes for your testimony. Please do remain on the line once those 3 minutes have elapsed, as commissioners or parties may have questions for you.
Okay. Is it okay for me to start now?
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Okay. First of all, I would like to start with we had a hearing on February 14th, 2024, and Mrs. Besler had made a decision on June 19th, 2024, and she had denied our she classified our home as a boarding home, and she also denied any allegations about the charges being overcharged on our account, and then she stated that later on that we could have another hearing, but yet they're refusing to give us another hearing. Every time we call, they say read 3 of 12, and 3 of 12 does not state that we cannot have a hearing. 3 of 12 states that we're just going up against Duke Energy Progress, but it does never say that we're denied of having a hearing. Okay, getting back to the whole situation, what's going on is Duke Energy Progress for the last 5-6 years on mine and my husband's account. I had account first, and then he had account second. My account on June 22nd. June 13th of 2022, they had cut my power out and would not put my power back on until I paid them $118.96. That wasn't even on my bill. My bill was for $117.24, and I paid $109.59, I believe it was, on that account, and therefore they still cut my power out and made me pay the money. Okay, now going back to my husband's account, we've been fighting his account for almost over a year now, trying to get the Public Service Commission to see that they've been charging 800 kilowatts on our bill every month that has not been approved by the Public Service Commission within the last 5 years. Now they tried to say that Miss Carol Lee Williams had approved rates, said that we was being charged the right rate on May 9th, 2024. But when in fact she didn't state what rate. The only thing they're talking about is air lighting charges. And air lighting charges, she said, was correct, but which they're not. Air lighting charges are supposed to be $806 a month. They're charging in between $10 a month. I forgot the exact amount. I don't have it with me. But anyway, they're charging over $8.06 a month.
Miss
Okay?
Hedwin,
And so therefore,
Miss Hedwin, do you have any testimony about the integrated resource plan? This is not about your case.
okay, what you mean about the integrated hearing? Because I never got anything in the mail about that. The only thing I know about is the rates, is where you're talking about the rates went up.
You signed up to speak on the integrated resource plan, which is what our hearing is about this morning.
Is this Mr.
We are not going to listen to the things about your earlier hearing or any complaints you have. We're gonna have to cut you off. We're gonna have to cut you off unless you have some testimony about IRP.
Is this Mr. Powers? I'm asking you, is this Mr. Powers? He's a norm. I'm about to get moved. Be quiet. He's a norm. Is this Mr. Powers?
Yes, it is.
because you're stealing. You're stealing money with the Duke Energy Progress. You're stealing with Marcus O'Preston and Tekel Henderson, and you also and with Bezler as well. She's involved in it too. That's why you don't want me to talk about the hearing.
Okay, we're going to have to cut you off, Miss Heblin. Your time is up. Thank you. Cut her off.
Our next witness is Rodney Neal. Rodney Neal, are you in attendance? If you would please come towards the podium. And you may have a seat at that chair there. Mr. Neal, if you would please affirm that the testimony you're about to give represents the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you, sir. Will you please provide the commission with your name, your street name, and the name of your town, but not your full address? Into the
Neal.
microphone, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Rodney Neal, Switzer Green Pond Road, Woodruff, South Carolina.
Thank you, sir. And are you a Duke Energy customer?
Not directly. I'm indirectly a Duke customer. I'm a Lawrence Electric customer who supplies power or buys power from Duke, but I am an impacted stakeholder in the community where Duke is currently executing a project.
Thank you, sir. You'll have 3 minutes for your testimony. Please do remain seated after those 3 minutes have elapsed, as commissioners or parties may have questions for you.
All right. Thank you, commissioners and Chairman Powers. Duke has announced the Big Ferguson project to route a subtransmission line through my community. Contrary to the requirements stated in Section 40 of South Carolina Code 5837, Duke has not included the project in any IRP submittal since the plan was formed no later than 2021. By omitting it, Duke has effectively hidden the plan from my community and you, the Public Service Commission, denying us the opportunity to formally question Duke's decision-making process, justifications, and conclusions which gave birth to the plan. Section 40 does not have any clauses that would permit Duke to exclude the project from the IRP. About two-thirds of our current transmission grid in the state are of the same KV rating as Big Ferguson and are planned without any public or regulatory oversight. Emissions of this type have been identified in past IRP submissions as an issue with commitments made and not kept. In 2018, in the 2018 IRP, Duke committed to work toward the creation of a broader process by which all energy resources are evaluated fully and fairly valued on functional capability, irrespective of the resource location on the grid. They affirmed the commitment in the 2019 IRP, stating their intention to implement the basic elements of transmission line planning in the 2022 IRP. Again, in the 2020 IRP submission, they elaborated on the need for a more robust accounting of such plans and confirmed the 2022 timeline. The ORS review of Duke's 2022 IRP includes a recommendation on compliance with Section 40 of 5837 and an update on which they plan to include in the 2023 submittal, which was not honored. Jake Duncan, testifying recently, states that the 2023 IRP falls short of the requirements on this topic, the most relevant being it did not address distribution issues and continues to be largely one-way form of communication in which finalized processes are presented to stakeholders instead of collaboratively created. The repeated emissions will continue until directed by the regulator, the PSC. Our contention is that Duke has unilaterally planned and is executing the Big Ferguson project, with the result being an ill-conceived, reactive Band-Aid solution focused on short-term relief. It does not strategically align with both current needs and future growth. It was put in motion without any advance public notice or opportunity for public scrutiny and will result in a less efficient, higher-cost solution in the long term. Here's what we ask of you, the PSC. As a result, direct Duke to modify their 2023 IRP submission to document all transmission line projects which are under construction or for which there are specific plans to be constructed during the 15-year planning cycle horizon. Direct Duke to suspend all Big Ferguson easement acquisition activities, including those authorized by South Carolina Code Title 28, Section 270. Schedule a review which complies with Section 40 of Duke's Big Ferguson project, which allows intervention by interested parties, establishes as a schedule to permit reasonable discovery and assist parties in obtaining evidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. Any questions from Duke?
Mr. Chairman.
ORS?
No questions.
All right, commissioners. All right. Thank you very much for your testimony. We certainly will take that under advisement.
Our next witness this morning is Marshall Robichaux. Marshall Robichaux, if you would please take the stand. Thank you, sir. And if you would please affirm that the testimony you're about to provide represents the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you, sir. Will you please give the commission your name, your street name, and the name of your town, but not your full address?
Marshall Robichaux, Drummond Road, Woodruff, South Carolina.
Thank you, sir. And are you a Duke Energy customer?
I am.
Thank you, sir. You'll have 3 minutes for your testimony. You may begin now.
Thank you, Chairman Powers and Commissioners, for allowing me to present to you our concerns about the plan. When is a plan not a plan? Duke omitted this project from its IRP because it was, quote, not under construction or approved for construction by Duke Energy. Unfortunately, ORS and apparently the PSC have endorsed this unreasonable exception, which not only defies logic but strains credibility with the letter and spirit of the law under Section 58. Quote, integrated resource plan means a plan which contains the demand and energy forecast for at least a 15-year period. If Duke purchased property in June 2022, then publicized its intention to move forward with this plan in September 2022, is that not a plan? Whether a project is not under construction or approved for construction by Duke should certainly not exclude it from being considered a plan. How are we served by ORS and the Public Service Commission as customers, as South Carolina citizens, if Duke is allowed to decide its planned projects are included in their IRPs? The current IRP process is the only opportunity where we are allowed to officially request project planning documents and a degree of discovery. Since this project is under 125 kV and was not included in the IRP, the responsibility fell upon our community to conduct our own due diligence to ensure that the substation was appropriately sited and that Duke was acting in good faith, which is an impossibility without access to Duke's documents. The unintended consequences of allowing Duke to arrive at a point in its project where a substation site has been purchased and transmission line route identified without any governmental review has created an entire class of customers who have now been disenfranchised. An administrative decision to exclude certain projects violates due process and equal protection under the law. These smaller projects, which ultimately result in the taking of property, impact the community in the same manner as larger projects. The legislature wrote the 125 kV exclusion, which the commission is powerless to change. However, the commission has the power to do the following: direct Duke to modify their 2023 IRP submission to include all substation and transmission line projects where siting areas have been determined or defined, or for which future construction within the 15-year horizon is to occur. 2, direct Duke to suspend all Big Ferguson easement acquisition activities, including those authorized by South Carolina Code annotated Section 28-2-70. 3, schedule a review which complies with Section 40 of the Code of Duke's Big Ferguson projects, which, quote, allows intervention by interested parties, establishes a schedule to permit reasonable discovery, and assists parties in obtaining evidence. Thank you, Commissioners. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Robichaux. Duke,
No, Mr. Chairman.
ORS,
No questions.
commissioners. Seeing no questions, thank you very much
Thank you.
for informed testimony.
Mr. Chairman, our next witness, we have been unable to reach on the line. I will read out his name in case he is in attendance. Scott Fredrickson. Scott Fredrickson, are you in attendance and wish to testify? We have contacted him multiple times and not received an answer. So. And that is the fourth and final witness that we had signed up today for this morning session.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for participating. We will begin again with witness testimony at 5:30 this afternoon. Thank you very much. We adjourn.